Welcome to Tying Michigan's Best Trout Flies. Today we're going to focus on an old Grayling, Michigan pattern from an old Grayling, Michigan tyer by the name of Eggie Special. And the fly we're going to tie that he originated is called the Eggie Special. I'm doing this by request. I've had a couple of people ask for this. It's an old Grayling pattern. You seldom see it anymore. It was used a lot years ago and was very successful. So if you enjoy classic Michigan trout flies, I think you're going to like this one. Before we get started on that, though, I want to do just a brief discussion regarding hooks in general and the hooks that I sell. So soon we'll be tying the Eggie Special. So before we get started tying the Eggie Special, I want to talk just for a couple of minutes about hooks in general and the hooks that I sell. I put a size 12 dry fly hook in the vise. That's what we're going to use for our Eggie Special. Now, no doubt you've noticed over the years that there's been an influx of hooks, many different styles, many different brands, so on and so forth. A lot of quality hooks on the market. And, back when I first started tying in 1954, we had mustad hooks. And that was about it. There was a few other ones, partridge and things like that, way out of my price range. So I used mustads almost exclusively up until 2009. Now I did, when a new one would come out, VMC, Tiemco, or whatever, I would stop and try them out. And I always went back to mustads. I liked them, and the price point in general was much better for me as a commercial tyer. But in 2009, I discovered these hooks, and I started using them for my own tying, and I found that I could get them from a particular source at wholesale, which was considerably less than the mustads I was using, and they're a high quality hook. Now, the reason I'm discussing this is because the price point on these hooks, I sell these on the website, it's a fraction of some of the top quality, at least so-called top quality hooks on the market today. Not that they're not, but the price point of these to some makes it seem like they've got to be low quality. Well, let me tell you why they're not low quality, why they're actually a high quality hook. Because when I started tying in 2009, like I said, I was doing commercial tying, of course. Up to that point, I had tied some over 200,000 flies almost exclusively on mustad hooks. And from 2009 until now, using this brand of hook, I've produced about 140,000 flies. I haven't had any complaints on those. In the last few years, about 5 other well-known Michigan commercial tyers have started using this hook almost exclusively and by the thousands, and they also are not experiencing any complaints. My point is that regardless of the price, this is a high-quality hook. Now, as to the price, why is it so much lower price than the others? Well, the answer to that is because I import these hooks personally. What that means is I'm both the importer and the retailer, the only retailer of this hook. What does that mean? Well, that means that the end price that you pay retail from me eliminates 2 wholesalers in between. That's the reason that you can get this high quality hook at such a low price. So check it out and don't worry about the price. They're really good hooks. So now we're going to get on to tying the Eggie Special, and I put a size 12 hook in the vise. Now this fly was pretty much tied in 10s and 12s, and it probably started in, I'm guessing it could have started as early as the 30s, for sure by the 40s, and it was a popular fly in northern Michigan at one time. You don't hear much about it anymore, but someone asked that I might do this pattern, so I did a little bit of research, and I'm pretty confident that I've come up with how it was originally tied. So Eggie, Mr. Bugby used a black thread, so we're going to use some black 6/0 thread. And this is a standard winged, or a lot of people call them Catskill style flies. That's not necessarily Catskill style. That's a style unto its own. But the wing is a couple of feathers from a dark barred ginger cape. Now I'd rather do these with hen, but I don't have any dark barred ginger hen. So I've got a couple of feathers that we're going to make the wing set out of for this fly, and we'll even those up the best that we can, and using the old Clarence Roberts method of winging the standard fly, we'll attach that wing right about there and come back and stand it up. And oops, this is why I prefer hen. You get a much better outline with the hen than you do with this style. But we have what we have. Okay, so there's our wing. Now the tail on this, and these old northern Michigan Grayling area flies were interesting for a lot of reasons. Now the tail on this, Eggie used 3 or 4 turkey tail fibers. Now you have to remember that this tying really started to take off around the time of the Great Depression. After the Great Depression, then came the Second World War, and the economy was there was basically no economy in northern Michigan. So these guys used whatever materials they had at hand to tie flies. So we got just a few tips of a little bit of turkey tail fiber here. We're going to make the tail out of, and slightly longer than the entire hook, and we'll attach it right about there. And oopsie, run it back to the bend, and this makes our tail, and we'll even that up a little bit. And Eggie actually used yellow wool for the body. Well, I don't have any yellow wool, so I'm going to use a little bit of yellow rabbit. But this fly also had a ribbing on it of brown hackle, so we're going to put that in right now, so we can rib our fly, and let's just attach that right here by the bend, like so. And then a little bit of yellow dubbing for the body, taking place of the yellow wool. This is really the only alteration that I've made to the original. I would say is the using yellow dubbing rather than yellow wool. And when you look at this fly, you begin to wonder what in the world it imitated. But the best thing I can come up with is that it, I don't think I put enough dubbing on there, is most likely looks to me like with a size 10 and 12 a March Brown imitation. Of course they didn't tie very small in those days for a number of reasons, one of them being the hackle available. Back in those days, all we had available was Indian necks, and if you got a few 14s off of those, you were doing good. So we'll put on our brown hackle rib now in a few overhand turns like this, and tie it off right there. And then the hackle was simply the good old-fashioned standard grizzly and brown, which we're going to put on and tie in a sinful manner, both hackles at once. if I can get these arranged, we'll get it on there. And okay. And just attach it in the usual manner. There. And lash that down up here a bit. Got a couple errant fibers. And then a few wraps behind, like this. And one or two in front should do us. Like that. And we can trim that off, finish the head up a little bit, and you whip finish, or however you want to finish it off. And that is the old-fashioned Eggie Special, which you rarely see anymore today. Like I said, I suspect with the coloration, probably useful early season for March browns, things like that. So if you like classic Michigan dry flies, this is one of them. Give it a try. You're going to catch fish. You're going to catch fish on this. So enjoy it. And the next time, we're going to be doing a nymph of my own. I don't do a whole lot of those, and I don't fish them much anymore. But this one that we're going to do, the squirrel rat, is highly effective. I think you're going to like it. Hope to see you then.